Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, a first for the channel, I'm going to review a play. So the play in question is The Pillowman by Martin McDonagh, which was recommended to me by a bunch of people in the comments on my various Disturbing Books videos that I've made, where I've been asking for recommendations of disturbing text to read. This was recommended a number of times, and I can see why, having read it. I went into it not really knowing what to expect, so expecting something disturbing and having an idea of what it was about, but not knowing what to expect from the act of reading a play. So it's a very long time since I've read a play. I think the last time I did was, probably reading Shakespeare at school. Or maybe we did read some more modern stuff as well. So we read like Pinter and people like that. But it's a very long time since I've read a play, and I don't think I've ever read a play for pleasure. So it was a really interesting experience as a reader to read this, purely because it was a different kind of text. And I did find it really engrossing and enjoyable, and clearly partly that is down to the quality of the writing, but also a play is quite a good way to get a story into a reader quickly, because you don't have to worry about all the the flowery bits where you're describing the hills and stuff like that. It's just about the dialogue, and it did work very, very well as a result. So Martin McDonagh is someone who is very well known as a screenwriter. So written a number of big movies. So he wrote In Bruges, which I've seen and really enjoyed. A couple of other things which I haven't seen but have been meaning to. So 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, I think it's called, which was very well received, and more recently The Banshees of Inisherin, which again got great reviews. Also, randomly, having Googled him, I looked him up on IMDb to see what he'd written. And he looks like Sting, doesn't he? Is it just me, or does he look like Sting, the singer? And even more randomly, one of my regular, long-time commenters, ToraCube, apparently used to play football with him. So that was an interesting connection. Anyway, let's talk about the play. So it's a play with a very limited cast, so it's got 4 characters effectively. The main one, Katurian, is a writer who's been taken into custody by 2 secret policemen. So he lives in a totalitarian society, and you never see anything outside the world of the prison. And basically he's being questioned. And the 4th character is Katurian's brother, who's also been taken into custody. And that effectively is the plot. It's the secret policeman questioning him and trying to get to the bottom of some terrible crimes that have been committed, which they think he has a connection to. What you do get as well, though, is a lot of backstory about his childhood, and also because he's a writer and because the secret police are interested in possible connections between his stories and the crimes that have happened, you do get to hear a lot of his stories, and some of those are kind of played out at the side of the stage, if you see what I mean. So you get a number of short stories within this text, and those short stories are really creepy and really effective and very very nicely thought out in terms of being just a short, nasty story. That if it were a short story, would probably be 10 pages or something like that, but really, really effectively done. The most effective of them is the story of the Pillowman. So there's this character called the Pillowman who he's written this story about, and I won't spoil it for you by telling you what the story is, but it is incredibly creepy. It's really, really effective. I would love to see a short story collection that was just the stories from this play and others like them. It was really, really well done. But what's fantastic as well is the characters and the interplay between the characters. So the 2 secret policemen who have slightly different views about how they should go about their job, shall we say. But also Couturian and his brother. Just the interplay between them is really, really interesting, and the in particular at the start of the play, Couturian's like just complete like befuddlement at why he's been brought in, and there's a real kind of vein of dark comedy running through this in terms of the ridiculousness of the way that police states like that operate, in terms of just pulling people off the street and almost trying to persuade them that they've been involved in crimes. So that is a source of humour at times in the play, but also obviously it is in itself something really disturbing and horrible, particularly because we know it's something that happens day in, day out around the world in oppressive regimes. So that side of the story is definitely disturbing, but what's even more disturbing is the backstory, and there's the story that really is at the heart of this play is absolutely heartbreaking and horrific and deeply, deeply affecting. And just thinking about it now, I'm almost like feeling emotional. It is incredibly dark and horrific, and makes this one of the most disturbing things I've read recently. So certainly since starting this this project to read disturbing things, this is up there. This is kind of probably top 5 material. It was much more disturbing than I expected it to be. I expected, because it was a play, there'd be a bit of kind of distance there, that it wouldn't pull me in the same way that a novel would. But it really did pull me in. You really feel like you get to know these characters, and you get to feel what they're going through, and you get to experience with them the horror of things that have happened. So yes, incredibly effective, far more effective than I expected it to be. And yeah, you can tell when a work has real power, because it stays with you. And I finished this. I read this a week ago, and it has stayed with me. A week's not very long, is it? But thinking about it again, as you've just seen, has almost brought me up short and made me reflect about the text again, which isn't something that happens to me all that often, to be honest with you. I'm someone who tends to I read a book, I finish it, I move on to the next thing. So for a book to kind of come back and haunt me a little bit, shows that it has power. So this definitely does. And I am very tempted to go and see it at the theatre. It is, I think, on again in London at the moment. So it was originally put on in 2003 is when it premiered. But yeah, I believe there's a revival going on at the moment. So I hope you found that interesting. Let me know if you've read or indeed seen The Pillowman and what you thought of it. And as always, thanks very much for watching. I hope you're safe and well out there. I hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.